Hey guys, Spacey here, and welcome to Koura's podcast, Filmmaking Actually. Before we jump into this episode, part 1 of the full Names on the Wall panel with the key cast and crew, I want to give you a quick heads up regarding the sound quality. We were all recorded remotely, and that comes with some technical hurdles, so we appreciate your understanding on that front. So enjoy.
Hi, my name is Koura, and welcome back to my podcast, Filmmaking Actually. As you may or may not know, Space Dream Productions' first film was a short film called Names on the Wall, which actually just wrapped its festival run at the Nova Fest and Capitol Film Market in April. It was an honor to be the opening night film and to have the opportunity, thanks to the virtual nature of the festival and the support of festival director Mr. Fernando Mico, to bring together our key cast and crew for a full moderated panel and Q&A with an awesome audience. While the full panel was recorded and is available on YouTube on the Fame LLC YouTube channel, and it's also available on our website under the Names on the Wall tab below films, we wanted to share the content as podcast episodes, as we know sometimes it's easier to stream a podcast than sit and watch a YouTube video, especially as these panels ran for over an hour. Moderated by Space Dream Productions' Vice President for Marketing, Brian Redhead, this panel discusses details of Names on the Wall, so we suggest watching the film first if you've not already seen it. It is available on Amazon Prime Video. If you cannot access it on Amazon Prime for some reason, please message us and we'll send you a private screening link so you can watch it before hearing all of these spoilers. Now, with no further ado, I present to you part 1 of our filmmaker panel for Names on the Wall.
So guys, really appreciate you working with us. We're trying to navigate something where we're not really familiar with, but here we are. So thank you all for joining us. My name is Brian Redhead. I have brown hair, light skin, I wear glasses, I have a beard, and I'll be moderating the panel discussion, audience Q&A portion for this evening. I'm glad you guys have me here. As we strive to create this panel to be as accessible and as inclusive as possible, we are joined by sign language interpreter Carrie Ann. A couple announcements about the platform. You should see a chat box to the right of your screen that will allow you to converse with everyone here. Please use this as you'd like. In that chat box, you'll see a Q&A tab. Please use this for any questions, and I will get through them during the audience Q&A portion. As we move forward, I do have to say, wow, what a performance. To congratulate the cast and crew of their amazing performance. Please feel free to use that chat box mentioned above. They'll be easily able to take care of any of that. Thank you guys so much. They really appreciate it. Before we get started, I want to thank Mr. Fernando Mico and the Nova Film and Capitol Film Market for the amazing opportunity for hosting this opening night screening of Names on the Wall, and of course, for allowing us all to meet here afterward. I'd like to thank their sponsors, the Virginia Film Office and Laurel Channel, for their continued support. I'd like to thank Paul John of Filmocracy for running this platform and allowing us to gather in this virtual space. Thank you to Tyler Kapp. If it wasn't for you, I don't think any of us would be here tonight. Before I get to the panelists, I'd like to spend some time to thank the dedicated members of Space Dream Productions, Jazz McGeoch, Koura's executive assistant and staple here at Space Dream Productions the last year and a half. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Hispanic, and I have dark curly hair and glasses, and I usually always have a smile on my face because I love everybody here. I'm happy to be here, and I'm super excited to see all of you here, and I'm really happy to see where this goes.
Yay! Thank you, Jazz.
I'm going to want to thank Stevie Collins, the post-production assistant, oversaw the closed caption and accessibility for Names on the Wall.
Hi, thank you. My name is Stevie Collins, and I am 28 years old. I'm light-skinned, I have brown hair and glasses, and I'm wearing a black dress. I'm really excited to support accessibility for this movie. It was an amazing job and really included just amazing. It was special and wonderful and amazing.
Thank you so much, Stevie. I also want to thank Erica Taylor, who just popped up. She's the supporting lead for Catching the Light, a Space Dream Production feature film that's currently in post-production. And she's also the social media manager for Catching the Light Social. Thank you so much, Erica.
You're welcome. Hi, I am a young female with brown hair that has a little bit of mermaid coloring in it, glasses, and I'm wearing my favorite blue and white dress. So check us out on Catching the Light Media on Instagram and Facebook.
Thank you guys for being part of our team. It's truly a blessing. And also, thank you to the panelists who are putting in to make this project happen, bringing these characters to life and to reunite to tell their stories here this evening. After I mention your name and title, please introduce yourself. Koura Linda, executive producer, director, co-writer, producer, production designer, co-editor, unit production manager, casting director, post-production supervisor, final audio mixing sound design supervisor, location manager, and makeup artist day 2. Thank you for making this happen.
Hi, I'm Koura. I had the amazing pleasure of working with all of these wonderful people. I am a young woman with young light skin and dark hair, and I'm wearing a green and I guess orange and yellow dress with a Jewish star necklace.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Koura. I also want to introduce Spaceship, the associate producer, co-editor, music supervisor, composer, musician, final audio mixer, colorist, visual effects, and behind-the-scenes camera op.
Hello. That's about it. I have brown hair. I have a beard and a goatee type thing. I'm wearing a red and blue flannel shirt, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here. I want to introduce Nick Gambino, the writer, the executive producer, costume designer, and on-the-spot jewelry savior.
On-the-spot jewelry savior. Oh, that's a good one. Never heard that one before. Hi, I'm Nick. Dark hair. I guess this is a beard. Dark beard. Checkered plaid. I'm not ready for this. I've got 2 of my favorite movie posters behind me, Back to the Future and Beverly Hills Cop. And good to be here.
Yay, jewelry savior.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here as well. Moving on to Melissa Tracy. She was the second unit director, she was the stunt choreographer, and she was a stunt coordinator.
Hi. Nice to meet everyone. I'm Melissa Tracy. I'm really honored to be here. I'm very proud of everybody. Everybody kicked some ass in this production. I have curly dark hair and light skin. Nice to see everyone.
It's nice to see you. Brendan Healy, U.S. Soldier number 1.
That's me. I'm an Irish-American guy, about 6 foot, wearing a green bandana to match my green eyes and brown hair.
Well, thank you for being here too. Don Nguyen, Viet Cong soldier.
Hi, everybody. Hi, my name is Don, D-O-A-N. Don Nguyen is my stage name on the movie. My name is Phuc Dom, and I am 18 at heart. Wearing a dress shirt with a V-neck, black hair, brown eyes, clean shave, and really happy to be here. Very lucky to be here. It's amazing people that are here, and I can't thank enough for it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Last but not least, Mary Jameson. She was the makeup artist for day 2. She was the U.S. soldier's wife, and she's also the leading actress for Space Dream Productions' upcoming feature film, Comic Relief. Welcome, Mary.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here, and I was very honored to be part of this film, and always honored to be really involved in anything that Koura and Stacey do. I like to consider myself a young woman. I have got brown hair, middle length with bangs, and blue eyes, and a dimple on my left side.
Perfect description. Thank you again for being here. There's one more person that I'm going to want to mention. It's his birthday. He's in the audience with you guys. His name's Solomon. So from the cast and crew, we want to wish you a happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Happy birthday.
Grazie.
And also thank you again to the panelists, the people that made tonight happen. That includes you, the audience. But for now, please let's sit down, let's kick back, and let's enjoy the discussion. To bring it towards the start, the beginning of this project, Koura and Nick, how did you two find each other, and what drove the creation of this story?
Callie. So Nick's wife is one of my best friends for, I won't say how long, but pretty much the majority of my life. And when I was looking for a film to make, and I was looking for, it had to be a script that had like something about it that could grab humanity and make an impact. And I read I don't even know how many shorts, and there was a handful of them that caught my attention. And I was talking to Callie about it, and she was like, why don't you see what Nick has? So yeah, Nick, what was your side of that?
Yeah, so then Callie was like, what do you have? No. I think she told me what she was looking for, and I always loved single location films. You know, there's a million examples, but I was thinking I wanted to take the idea of divisiveness, whether it's political or emotional, personal, whatever it is, and how do you represent that simply, and also, you know, with the backdrop of the Vietnam War, not to get political, but like that obviously was a very divisive war, and all war is divisive. So I don't know if that really means, but I think there was just a point when even within our own country, just politically, we were just sort of like, what is this war? Like people going like, you know, protesting the war, and these other people like, no, this is what we got to do. And I was just like, okay, let's strip all that away and let's just take two people, opposite sides of the war, put them somewhere where they basically, you know, have to work together to survive or, you know, kill each other. And I think that's like in its most simplistic form, you know.
Kill them because, you know, why not just break our hearts, Nick?
Yeah. And I love morbid endings. No, it's not true. No, I felt like that's where it kind of had to go at the end. But so then I wrote the thing. Then we made it. It was that easy. No.
Yeah, totally. We just took it off the printer and went to set.
It's like 2 years before we even hit set.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was living with you guys at the time, I think, when
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was living in Virginia. Oh, I should say, because this is the Northern Virginia Film Festival, I should say that Nick is a Nova native, and the script was written and developed in Northern Virginia.
Yep. Falls Church.
Yep, Falls Church.
Yeah.
You guys' old house. Anyway.
Awesome. That's truly interesting. This film was nominated here for Best Director, Best Drama Short, and Best Film Short. So right away, I mean, you guys made something powerful.
Choreography.
Well, and Best Action Choreography. I know. I'm going to get to that, though. But you guys get those awards.
Shout out, Melissa.
So it got a whole bunch. Okay, so it did good. But I want to direct a question kind of towards the entire panel, maybe open up a little bit of discussion here. What's, you know, one of your earliest memories of the project? Maybe how did your first meeting go? Your first audition, your first reading, anything like that?
Do you want to start?
Oh, should I start? I mean, we got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper spray. Anyway, no, we actually got married just before she flew out from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I had never been on a film set before. So this was my first, like, got dropped in, holding a bounce, kind of like running and grabbing things and scuffing up props like hours or minutes before we needed to shoot the thing. And that was my experience. I just got dropped into the middle of it. My presence is more known in the post-production phase, so I really can't speak to, other than it was just amazing to see creatives like on-set, director, Koura, of course, actors Brendan and Fook, and Ian, who can't be here, but he's amazing, amazing, super creepy. Yeah, just everybody, and also Mary, and then Keith, who's the young actor on the second day of shooting. All just so many great people, and all the crew and everybody. So yeah, I had a great time during the shooting.
Anybody else?
I think this is where everybody has to answer the question.
Let's go around. Circle.
Well, personally for me, I got a phone call from Koura that said, hey, do you have anything in this period clothes to wear? Like the night before. And because Koura and I have been in productions before. I directed a stage show, which she choreographed and was in with me, and it turned out it was just an amazing experience. But she literally was like, well, for the most part, it was an amazing experience. But like literally the night before, she was like, hey, so this isn't in the script. So we're going to just kind of throw this at Brendan. Like, he has no idea you're going to be there. He has no idea this is a thing. Can you potentially just show up dressed as someone in, this period and look sad. And I was like, of course, why not? I've got literally nothing else to do today. Thank you so much. So yeah, that's how I got cast.
True story. And Brendan?
It was such a surprise when I turned and saw her for the first time. It was, I think that was the second day. We shot for 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the second day, I remember being completely exhausted from the first day, and looking. Koura wanted me to look from right to left, and it's kind of that part of the film where I get kind of that trippy part where I get thrown back into, out of my flashback, and there she was. Mary surprised me for sure. If we're talking about first impressions, I mean, that was my first audition with this film. And
wait, what?
Yeah, wasn't it?
He hoodwinked you. No, I'm kidding.
What happened? What did I just do?
I had no idea. I mean, we did the casting on LA Casting. I just called in people off their resume and headshots, but I had no idea first audition.
Wow. She's saying you blew her away, Brendan.
Yeah, because you knew some film fighting too, so that was kind of interesting.
I think it was.
I'm sorry. That was not my first audition ever. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was like, dang.
Yeah, I walked around like, what's that? They're like, it's a camera. I'm like, what are these? They're like, those are lines. I'm like, oh, okay, let me just see what I could do with this. No, my first impression for the project was the first audition.
Oh, okay.
And it was a gauntlet. I remember it was a gauntlet of a process, because it's one of those auditions where you're there for 4.5, 5 hours, and they decided that they wanted Doan right away because he was just a rock star. He was so good that they went, okay, he's definitely our guy, but who's going to be the soldier? So I'm sitting in the audition room on a bench with like maybe 10 or 14 other white dudes, kind of just hanging out like, okay, it's down to us. And she would bring them in one at a time.
Yeah.
They would come out and they would either sit on the bench or they would leave. And if they left, I mean, I'm sure if you're an actor or an actress watching this and you've done this song and dance before, where you're kind of sitting there like, oh man, am I going to get it or am I going to go home? They say, thank you for your time. You're free to go. You're like, oh, well, I didn't get that one. And I remember it was going down and down and down until it was just me and one other guy in the waiting room. And I went in, and then he went in, and then I went in, and then he went in, and then I went in, and then he went in. And eventually they ended up picking me. I think just because Doan and I had really good chemistry. Doan made me look good. That's pretty much what I'm trying to tell you. It was all him. Yeah, that was my first impression.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he was amazing. I think, if I may go, I thought that was a really great experience because Koura knew what she wanted, and the script was amazing. Me and Koura had worked together on another project that was a lot of fun and very creative. And Koura just busted her butt for so long, and so many things happened. And so the very first impression was the script was amazing. I was like, this is an Academy Award winning script. It really should win, awards. And then, Koura's bringing it. So I knew it was going to be excellent. And there's a whole story that Koura can tell you about how hard she worked to get this project going. Talk about persistence. This lady has it. So very impressed with the persistence, very impressed with everything, like safety, and just like she lets me do what I need to do to keep the actors safe. And then the actors just wanted to kick butt, and I'm just going to be quiet now and let you guys take over. But I'm just extremely impressed with all the dedication, the quality, the social values, just, the loyalty to, the actors. There was just so much that went through, and so much persistence to get this project done. So that's, Anyway, I'll let you take it on from there, Koura. You can maybe explain all the craziness that happened. But just a lot of work went into this before we even set foot in the stage. A lot of work went into this project. So I knew it actually. Yeah, I'm gonna just be quiet because I'll just keep talking.
You're more than welcome to keep talking, but
I'll keep talking.
I kind of want to hear. I mean, obviously, I know what Melissa's referring to, but The I feel like I kind of want to know what Doan has to say.
Yeah, let's hear it, Don.
Hello, everyone. It was definitely a journey for me through this project. Not gonna lie. I can't thank enough Koura. I still remember the audition day. It was really fun to act with Brandon, and I think right off the bat we had a great chemistry. We able to connect in a different level right away, and I think Koura picked a great choice to cast Brandon to be the lead in this movie.
You're also the lead in this movie, but
I appreciate that. But I have to say, I mean, I had an accident where the movie didn't go according to plan and it got put off for almost a year, and she still stayed with me as the actor. Koura still decided to choose me as the actor for the movie, and waited for the whole year for me to get better. And like she could have gone any different, any other way, but she decided to stay. So I'm very grateful.
you earned it over and over again. Just for the
Overall, it was an experience of a lifetime. Working with Melissa, working with Koura and Brandon was like a hot knife with butter. So I definitely can ask for a better team than this team to work with in any project.
You guys are awesome.
As the final project came out, I'm pretty sure we can all agree that this was very well done with the right crew and the right people in the right places. Now I'm going to congratulate Melissa for that nomination of Best Action Choreography. Can you tell us what it was like to choreograph these authentic fight style scenes that were so specific to each character?
So what I did is did research of the time at the Vietnam War time and find out and talk to people that had actually served in the Vietnam War and find out exactly the styles that they were fighting with, which, they were Army trained. So Brennan was fighting with more of the rifle, using basic brawling techniques and using his rifle to fight, because they were often shown how to use a rifle to fight with. Whereas Doan's character was more doing close combat, was more of a close martial art that is close combat with lots of knees and elbows. And that's the style that we're using in Vietnam at the time, was a lot of knees and elbows type fighting. So that's what, when I was working with them, that's what we that's why I choreographed for them and for the team. And since they hadn't really done any, extensive film fight or anything like that before, they had to learn from scratch. So basically what I did was work with Koura. And since Koura and I had agreed that I was going to carry on her vision, because she had a vision of how, the actors were going to be carrying out their characters through, and they're going to be showing the fight is an extension of their characters and how they were fighting and whether they would fight clean or dirty. And they were both gentlemen. So we needed to keep the fights, even though they were trying to kill each other, they were both fighting in that way that represented their characters. So Koura and I decided the lengths of the fight, what needed to be brought out during the fights, what were the important beats, what were the important moments, what needed to happen, where did they need to start, what was the expressions, what was the actors feeling in the beginning of the fight, and what was happening and what was getting internalized through the fight, and then at the end, what ended up happening, who wins, who dies, or who gets injured, and then what is their, what needs to happen. So it was all a lot of work that Koura and I worked together to find out, what exactly needed to happen with the actors. And so I choreographed the fight scenes to her vision of what the characters were doing, and then also what needed to happen. So I just worked it out with the actors. Also, we had to figure out that Brendan was a really tall guy and was a smaller guy, so we had to we had to have fights that made sense for that. And we had to keep with the same fight style, so we couldn't be throwing in there like wushu or stuff that didn't make any sense, because that wasn't what was happening during the war. What was happening was these two fight styles, and we had to compensate for their height differences. So that's what we also worked into. And then also what weapons of opportunity, what was around at that time, like rocks or sticks or they ended up doing a lot of falling and training to do falls. So that was another thing that we had to all work together and train how to do falls. And then I worked with Koura and the DP at the time. Actually, I worked with the DP, and I actually, we approved it. The DP and I approved it with Koura of the fights and how if they were falling, they would fall, and how we would shoot it. So it would be an illusion, so it would look like they're really falling. So there was a lot of illusions and things like that we needed to create to keep the actors safe, and where we were going to have the mats done and have the mats down. Because the actors, even though it looks like they were hitting the ground, they were falling on the mats, and we had to keep them safe. So everything, had to be done safely. They took it upon themselves. We had training time that we trained with them, but they took it upon themselves also to train outside of the training time that we put together. And thank goodness, because Koura allowed the time for me to work with the DP and to work with the actors on the location. So we had all the fights figured out exactly how we were going to shoot them. I worked with the DP. We shot, all the fights, everything, figured out how we were going to do it before we even started. And Koura allowed that, which a lot of directors don't allow for that. And we made sure everybody was going to be safe. We knew everything we were doing before we even started the day. So we had a full previs, rehearsal and all that stuff. So that when the day happened, it just, it just flowed really seamlessly.
Excellent. Yeah. You were able to put in so much detail into this. It's no surprise that they were able to come out with the performance that just happened. Leading on from that, you mentioned something about how they work together. I kind of want to follow that. Brendan and Doan, how difficult was this fight choreography for you two? Can you please elaborate, if you have any memories, on what it was like to make sure that you were hitting your mark, especially when it came time to filming?
First down. Go ahead.
We, for the rehearsal, Melissa had a lot of great input. She pretty much broke down the action beat by beat to very, micro details, where we're able to follow, carefully. It's like a little baby learn how to walk. But on top of that, we were able to have a decent space to practice, right, Brandon? Like we would practice in my apartment, and we just literally rolling around and just like wrestling with each other around like two college kids, in the dorm room. It was fun, and we spent hours and talking about the actions and what would make sense for us. And when we got to the set, Melissa and Koura really helped us out with how the action would work with the angle of the cameras. And I have to say that they were so thorough with everything. I say they cover all their bases. So I really didn't have to do much of improvisations or any extra steps, right, Brandon? Like we were very fortunate to able to get it down very smoothly.
We were, yeah. I mean, Melissa spelled everything out for us. I hadn't had the most stunt experience I really had was when I was a kid. I have 3 siblings. We would wrestle each other on this like queen size mattress in my mom's basement. I don't know. It's called the WWE now, but it was called the WWF back in the day. So we made the HWF, which was the Home Wrestling Federation. So that was like all my stunt experience. That was pretty much all I had.
Wait, you had stunt on your resume, Brendan. That's why we cast
Yeah, I mean, that technically counts as stunts, But I remember
That's why we tested him.
Because we tested him in the casting room. You did.
Yeah. No, you somehow knew how to throw a film punch.
I've been doing this since I was in 4th grade. So,
somehow.
And then I stopped at like 7th grade, and then picked it back up for this film.
Remember. Hey, Koura, it was the learning. Brendan, you wanted to learn, and that's what Koura and I talked about. That the other guy had more stunt training, a lot more stunt training. But Koura, that's right. Yeah. Brendan, the other guy had a lot more stunt training. Brendan you had a much better attitude, and that's why we picked you, even though you didn't have a lot of stunt training. That was what it was, Koura. It was his attitude that got him, and the energy. The energy with Don, that energy was not, we couldn't take away. There was that special energy that nobody else had captured.
It was. Well,
and I was like, I can train him because he's got a good attitude. He's got a good attitude. Yeah. I can train him. Remember?
Yeah. You made it very, Brendan, for us. And, we kind of, with stunts, you kind of figure out what the choreography is step by step. And after you kind of get the hang of that, you do a little faster, and then you do a little faster, and then you do a little faster, safely, of course, So Don and I just practiced it over and over and over and over. And of course, you practice it we were practicing at Melissa's gym that she has there. And then we were also practicing in an empty apartment. I'm sure the neighbors loved that. And once we got to the location, there's always that kind of curveball of, okay, so we were doing it this way, but I think it actually works better this way. So there was those hiccups that come up inevitably.
Fantastic job with that. Honestly, it looked so real. Yeah, everybody that was fantastic. And I mean, there's a reason why we got nominated, but not just because the choreography, but the actors that were involved.
Amazing.
So I'm gonna move on for a little bit. I'm gonna address back to Koura. The true reason why we're all here tonight. This project, it grew and adapted through so much to get to the point where we just witnessed. How did these challenges make you think as a filmmaker? What did it take to overcome just some of the adversity you faced? And do you have any advice for anybody that might be willing to travel in your footsteps?
I will say that this film was definitely an adventure, down to the fact that when Spacey and I sat down, like, okay, we're going to finish it. We're going to get edited. And we plugged in the computer to start. We had just moved, and I guess the wiring wasn't that good. And when we plugged in the computer, it exploded and went up in flames. So thankfully, there was a backup of the footage, and we were able to recreate what we'd already edited and go ahead and finish it. That kind of felt like the perfect sort of like cherry on top of the existing production process. I guess the advice that I would give to anybody is know your vision, know what the story is that you want to tell in your heart, and don't ever let go of that. I had a very strange experience, and I say strange because I am a female in the film industry, and this doesn't usually happen. And I think this speaks to my team. I was supposed to be the producer and production designer is what I was originally getting the film made for. I was going to produce it, and I would hire a director to direct it because I'd never, I wasn't a director. As we were going through, I'd worked with Nick on developing the script. I was working with the casting, working with the locations. Like I was doing all these things kind of as the producer. When we were working out to get a director on, Melissa looked at me and she goes, "Why aren't you directing this?" And I was like, I'm not a director. And then I went and talked to Nick because he and I were basically the loan for the film. It was in our names. And it was as much his money as mine that would go away. So I asked Nick about it, and I was like, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, you totally should direct it. Like, it wasn't even a thing. Like, nobody made me feel weird or like I couldn't do it or like I should be worried about being a woman directing a Vietnam War film. It wasn't actually until I started entering festivals that I started hearing, well, that's not really a female film, or, you don't really qualify as a female filmmaker. And I was like, I don't? Why not? So I would just say to anyone who wants to follow their dreams, do it. And then surround yourself with people who don't put stupid restrictions on you. And if you are somebody who maybe is already in a position of extending that support to other people, if you see somebody and you believe in them, tell them. And if you think they can do something, give them a chance. And that's kind of become my sort of like driving force as a filmmaker, is when I see somebody who I believe in, I want to give them a chance, because I wouldn't be here if people didn't believe in me. So it's all their fault. Anyway.
I know we all believe in you. So thanks for getting us here. I want to bring up another key player that might have came in a little bit late to the game. But if it wasn't for him, I'm not sure where we would be once again. So Spacey, hi. How are you doing, buddy? So good to see you.
I'm doing okay.
You mentioned earlier about being brought from your music world. What was it like being thrown into film production? Or you can go to a little bit more detail and the differences, and also you getting married into it. So, you're not really having a choice. How did that make you feel?
Sounds like the mafia.
Back in. I don't know. It's hard to really put into words. It's funny because the day itself, the shooting day, it's kind of burned into my memory because it was a long day. It was over the course of 2 days, so it was a long 2 days. But it was kind of thrilling to just be kind of a fly on the wall, and mainly like taking pictures of, while things were happening, and just kind of being there as needed.
Holding the bounce.
Holding the bounce, as previously mentioned. It's just interesting coming from the perspective of somebody who'd never been on a film set, but somebody who, I love movies. I love anything creative. It's kind of cool to be part of the process in a way where you can sort of step out and in as needed and be able to observe. So I guess I have a unique perspective on the making of this film, and in the sense that, I also worked as an editor on the film. So it's kind of cool. Well, realistically, though, we could talk about that, because this is me diverting from the question a little bit. It was kind of cool at a certain point early on in the production, like within the first 6 months after wrapping the film shooting. Nick and Koura got together and they created this entire board and decided to rejigger the sequence of the film from how it was scripted. They edited it in the sense that they were taking sequences in the script and moving it around on this huge piece of plywood, moving these sticky tabs around to create the sequence. And then once they established that sequence, which was wholly new, it made the film just a little bit more powerful, a little bit, it was interesting to see that. And then for me to come on as an editor and try and interpret that, I got to experience the film newly, from being on set to the editing phase to working with Ozzy on the score, getting, refining the sound, working with the sound department to get the sound just right. And it's really cool. It was a privilege to kind of have that perspective of the film and get to admire what people were doing, but also help support it as I was able to. And yeah.
You wrote the original score, the song Names on the Wall. It's a beautiful piece. How did you do it? What inspired you? How did you keep it so authentic?
I'm going to deflect and just say it was basically watching the movie, having the story, the themes kind of fresh. And then I think I submitted the lyrics to Koura and to Nick, and it went through a lot of iterations, but I think the final version is like a cut down version of it. Like there was more verses, but I think the final version is like 2 verses and a bridge and the chorus, obviously. I think really having Jason Shepard, who's the real singer, like he has this Johnny Cash quality to his voice. Having him sing the song, it was kind of it was more like what kind of songs, the songs that I usually do has a certain energy, but it was a lot faster when I originally did it. And then bringing in Jason to sing, he's a veteran. He's still, he's like the real deal. And so him singing the song carries a lot more weight than I writing lyrics could ever. But I guess it's kind of like what a writer does, is they're hoping that they can populate an actor in a way to interpret the text and bring it to life. I guess that's kind of what I was hoping for, and he did. And that's really what makes the song, is the performance. But it was also just all part of, it's a constellation, like there's so many parts that inspire me, so many things behind the scene and on the screen, and they all inspired it and led up to it.
Really got to the point where we're at again today. So amazing work. Thank you for doing what you do.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we present the rest of this panel, and in the final portion, we cover audience questions. If you have additional questions about this film specifically, which were not covered in our panels, feel free to reach out on our social media. Names on the Wall is on Facebook under Names on the Wall, and you can always email us. Spacey will tell you how. Okay, that's it for now. Bye!
You've been listening to Filmmaking Actually with Koura Linda, Space Dream Productions podcast. Subscribe to us on any or all the podcast platforms, but we especially recommend our sponsor, Anchor. If you like what you hear, leave us 5-star ratings and positive reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. It helps more listeners like you discover the show. But the best thing you can do if you really like the show is tell a friend. Want to leave a comment or ask a question? Email at filmmakingactually@gmail.com. This is Spacey speaking.
You somehow knew how to throw a film punch.
I've been doing it since I was in 4th grade. So,
Somehow.
And we'll see you next time.